mute it over here real quick, which I don't. There we go. Hey everybody, welcome to my kitchen again. Once again, I'm hungry. It happens a couple times a day, but most of the time I've got leftovers. Today, however, I don't. So we are going to cook some, yeah, over there, porcupine meatballs. No, they're not meatballs with porcupine meat, although I can see where some of you might think that. What they are is they're little meatballs with rice in them, which kind of pokes out all over and kind of resembles a porcupine. Most of the time you throw them in the crock pot and you do it with kind of a barbecue sauce. I do not have the time or the patience to do either of those things this particular evening, so instead we're going to do it with kind of a mushroom sauce, and we're going to do it over on the stove. So welcome to the stream, and let's get started. First things first, I'll tie my hair back in a minute, but let's just go ahead and get the rice started so that you guys don't have to sit here and watch it boil for like 6 years. Also, I'm kind of pointed toward the ceiling there. There you go. Now, so trusty pan full of water. And I haven't fixed the systems yet for the servers downstairs, so we might get a little buffering today. If we do, again, I apologize. There we go. A little salt in the water. A little olive oil in the water. Little rice in the water. Probably a little too much rice in the water, truth be told. Hang on a sec, there's someone here. Hi, Shame. I am greeting you very, very non-loud or surprisingly, because I always surprise you, and I'm going to try not to this time. I hope I have succeeded. So what you up to today? You playing your Switch? And how is Splatoon going? I'm making rice at the moment. And then later I will probably clean the stove, because I didn't after I made the sausage biscuits yesterday. I kind of thought that it would be fine if I didn't, and I was wrong now that I turned the light on. I should have cleaned it before I did this, but oh well, it's fine. That said, we've got to get our beef going, and since we're going to be putting beef on the counter, we probably ought to clean it here real quick. And get us a nice clean work surface here. There we go. Now, beef. Nothing really special. And we'll get out our mushrooms for the mushroom sauce. Also, we're going to want to cut up an onion. So let me check on you guys and tie my hair back too, and then we'll get going here. Give us a second. Probably ought to come down here and make sure I get nice and pretty for you. I'm sorry. That's right, Duffy. Use OBS as a mirror. Update 3.0 is coming soon, so that means there's Rank X. Sweet! I bet you'll have it in no time. Okay, we need mushrooms, we need onions. Here's the mushrooms. Onions are going to be over here. And come on over, take a look, and we'll start cutting things up.
no way you're getting that. I think you will. You'll be fine. Well, now as we can see, this new onion has a little bit of a bad spot in it. So let's talk about that. How do you deal with that? Well, first, we're going to go about halfway in because I really only want half of the onion, and I was going to peel off of that. But since we're having to accommodate this, we'll slice down a little bit and see if we can get to the heart of it. Yeah, there we go. That gets rid of the bad spot without sacrificing too much of our onion. Now I'm going to go throw this away and wash my knife so we don't have any rotten onion juice on it. And after that, we will commence to peeling our onion here, which should actually be pretty easy despite how weirdly shaped we've got it. We'll just slice it in half and just peel the outer edge right on off of it right there. We'll do that with this side too. There you go. See? Nice, lustrous, shiny, and wonderful. The only downside to that is it's not going to wind up in any kind of shape I want. So what I'm going to do is slice it real thin into ribbons, and then I'll mince it from there. Woo! That is an angry onion. And I promised myself I wouldn't cry. All right. Holy moly, that's an angry onion. Whew. Yeah. There we are. Ah. Ooh. Excuse me. Okay, now that we've got the onion ready and the mushroom, lordy, we need to check on the rice. Which doesn't appear to be cooperating just yet. Let's see. It doesn't give a time on this. So, we're waiting for it to finish. In the meantime, let's get a bowl, and we'll set this aside, because I don't want a bunch of onion that's raw to be mixed in. I'm going to cook the onion around the meatballs, but what we do need to do is open this up so that we can add all our other stuff to our meatballs. Now what I should probably do is get some bread and start toasting it up real good to have it for this, because what I will be doing is breaking it up into crumbs to use as a binder for the meatballs. In the meantime, I'm just going to use my bread knife to open up the hamburger, because why not? There we go. Perfect. Actually, there's still some in there. Always squeeze all your burger out of your sock. I feel there's some joke to be made there, but we're going to avoid that. Okay. So let's season this up to our taste. Of course, we want celery salt, because I like celery salt. Bay goes good with beef, so I've got a little bay leaf powder here. I don't need much of that, just a little tidge. Salt and pepper, of course, although I'm kind of low on pepper right now. And don't worry, I see the rice bubbling. And so add a little salt. And what else do we want in this, guys? I know. A little bit of paprika. No, cayenne. Let's do cayenne. There we go. Give it a little heat. A little cayenne pepper. And, oh, I know. Where is it? Where is my ground cascabel pepper? I know I've got some someplace. And some cumin, I think. Where is my cascabel pepper? Give me a second, guys. I'm missing some stuff. And I don't like it. I have obviously put something back in the wrong place somewhere. Here it is! Woo! Alright, ground cascabel pepper. And I showed you guys once how I made that, but that's going to be really, really, really good. Now all I need to do is not drop a bunch of glass jars and get them everywhere. And I also need to get some cumin, because cumin's going to be really good in this. Cumin! That one's empty. Why don't I have any cumin? There we go. There's my new one. I need to reorganize a little bit. Here you go. Cumin. That smells much better. And put plenty of it on there. Now let's go check our rice, which seems to be doing just fine. So we'll let it go for a minute. And this is almost ready. Now, what we got to do in the meantime is to get some bread toasted up a little bit so that we can make breadcrumbs. And since I want to do it in a hurry, we are going to use the broiler. Now, I've got this big loaf of sesame seed French bread that I want to use for French bread pizza, but that's not for tonight. So, what I will do is cut off a little bit of it, just enough to toast up and make into a binder for this. So, there we go. Sesame seed French bread, looks beautiful. We just get a little bit of it off with our bread knife here. And that's a good ratio right there. So that's all we need. Maybe a little more than we need, actually. But what I'm going to do is get a cutting board here. And don't worry, I see the rice. Well, I hear it anyway. And what we're going to do is kind of cube this up a little bit, just because we don't want any part of it to really escape getting toasted. We want to make sure that we get it crispy, because we need to crush it into breadcrumbs, and it won't do if it's doughy or sticky. So, sorry, let's go get a pan real quick. Sucks to be short. Okay, so actually it's not bad to be short. I don't really mind it. Okay, now we're heading over to the stove here, and we're going to put these in the broiler real quick. So, turn the broiler on high. Stick those in. Set the timer for about 2 minutes. Also, this rice is probably getting... Oh, sorry. That was so you could see the broiler, but this rice is probably getting pretty close to done. So let's take a look. And I'm going to put a little water on it so that it's not 6 million degrees.
Then we're gonna taste test it for softness. Oh yeah, that's soft enough. So we can turn that off. And what we'll do is we will drain that out and put it in with the beef for the meatballs. But first, let's check our croutons here. Yeah, they ain't anywhere near ready. So while we wait on that, we need a way to drain this rice. Now, quick and easy way: take a pan, take a strainer, put them together. Pineapple pen. Never mind. All right, for this, we are going to want los guantes, gloves, specifically oven mitts. Although welding gloves would also be suitable. Dump that right in there. Rinse out your pan. Make sure we get all that lovely rice out of there. I'm sorry, I think I've got the camera pointed at my hand. No, I'm good. Let's check that crouton. We've still got some time. We'll go check on something. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Now, we've got to keep an eye on those croutons. But in the meantime, let's drain off this rice a little bit and get it into our hamburger over here. So we just toss the rice in the strainer a little bit and kind of keep moving it around because we want to get all of the water off of it. Well, all that we can. Because it's going into our meatball mix. And I might not put all of it in there just because I think I've got too much of it. Also, I dropped a big glob of it on my foot just now, so there is that. Let me go set this to the side. And that timer tells me that we need to check our croutons. Still not ready. So, unfortunately, we wait. Although, while we wait, I can be getting this pan ready for making our meatballs. Now, first things first, we're going to want some butter. Butter's always good. It'll help us get our onions going, and once we get our onions going, we can throw the meatballs down on top of it. Then we'll drain the grease out and start making a sauce after that. There we go. We'll just set this over here because we are going to want it later. Let's check our croutons. Now look, those are starting to crispy up a little bit. You can kind of see it, but they're not quite where I want them yet. So let's leave them in there another minute or so. And see what we see. Now, I don't have an egg for these, and I probably should, but I'm going to hope that the gluten in the rice keeps them together and they don't fall completely apart on me. If you guys haven't noticed yet, I tend to cook with what I have on hand, with maybe a little bit of planning ahead, but not necessarily as much as I probably should have. So. Let's get that going. All right, I think these are probably done, which is why, yeah, there we go. Boy, I dared to fire up the burner over here already. Take a look at these and you can see that they're pretty much perfect. So we're just gonna go ahead and start some onions, and not all of them, but some of them sauteing, and I want those on real low because it's going to take a minute to crush up these breadcrumbs, and we're going to throw them right into a baggie. There we go. And I should probably let these cool before doing this, but you know, sometimes you do not have that luxury. And that's why they're not crushing up quite the way I'd like them to. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to slice them instead of crush them. It'll work fine. See, that kind of got them, but they're still all in one piece. We can't have that. It smells good though. The sesame seeds on it are wonderful smelling. It's going to make for a marvelous filler for these things. And then if all else fails, you can kind of just tear them up a little bit with your hands, and it'll be great. Although I need to go and check on those sauteing onions for a second and see what they're up to. In the meantime, we'll just mix this together. Looks good. I'm going to turn those off a second and let that stay to warm. Now, you just got to mix this all together, which this bowl is not really big enough to allow smoothly, but that's okay. This is going to be good. This is going to be real good. Okay. You just want to get it evenly mixed. You don't want there to be pockets where there's just meat, and you don't want there to be big pockets where there's just a big glob of rice. You kind of want it to be uniform, more or less. And so, here's where it's at. Okay. Now, I'm going to steal a few of these onions and knead in here just for funsies, but most of the onions are going to go in the pan. All right, let's take this over to our work area. And let me wash my hands. All right. Now, we're going to start getting these things cooking here real fast. So we turn this back on. We got our little onion slurry there. And what we're going to do is just make nice little half palm sized meatballs and just kind of throw them in here. And let the onions do their thing. So how you guys doing this evening? Everything going all right? Anyone up to anything fun? These meatballs are going to be great. You can eat them by themselves. You can put them on hoagies. You can put them in a sauce. You can put them in pasta. Serve them as little treats on a stick. I mean, there's plenty of things you can do with them. The reason they're called porcupine meatballs is that the rice looks like little quills. And not only that, but if you have something nice like wild rice, you can make little black and white quills, and it really looks like a porcupine. You want to try to get all of your meatballs about an even size, because that way they cook evenly. And if you do make them different sizes, well, put in the big ones first. There, I need to kind of do something about those onions burning. It was not necessarily at all according to plan, but oh well. There we go. Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to add a little oil to the bottom of the pan just to keep things happy. Because we're going to drain these when they're about done cooking anyway, so that the sauce doesn't get greasy. And if you want them done all the way through, it's probably a good idea to cover them. Let's throw in a few more onions here. And then we'll throw in the rest of the onions and the mushrooms once the meatballs are about 3/4 of the way cooked, and we drain the grease off of them. And hello, how's it going? Why, thank you. I think it's looking pretty good myself. What I'm doing tonight is I am making porcupine meatballs, but not regular porcupine meatballs because I don't have any barbecue sauce. So instead of the crock pot and cooking them forever and things like that, what I am doing is making them in a pan. And I am going to, instead of barbecue sauce, make them with a nice mushroom sauce. So that should be a lot of fun. And for the bread filler, I've toasted up some sesame seed French bread, which is going to be delicious. So how are you doing? How did your doctor's appointment go? I hate to hear that you're not feeling well today. I'm also hoping that the rice has enough binder to make these things stick, because if not, they're not going to be so much meatballs as they are going to be meat clumps. Which, you know, will still be edible, and I will still put them on a hoagie or something, but for you guys, I'd like for them to look pretty. What I should have done is put a couple of eggs in that mixture, but as I explained earlier, for anyone that wasn't here, I don't have no eggs right now. I put them all in the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits I made in the last stream.
Here we go. Let's go ahead and try and turn these. Yeah, I think that between the bread and the rice, these things are going to stick okay. And he opens his big mouth and one of them falls apart. That's all right. There we go, y'all. Now, we just have to wait for those to kind of crispy up on a couple of sides so that they hold together more or less. And when they're solid enough for me to tip the pan up without them falling into a million pieces, I'll drain all the nasty old grease off of them, and then we'll start making a sauce around them. And for the sauce, I'm going to use mushrooms and onions and probably a little beef bouillon, and to thicken it up, butter. I don't know if I've got any arrowroot or not, so maybe cornstarch instead, or flour. And for the pièce de résistance, to thicken it up a bit, probably a tiny little half teaspoon of Marmite. See? They look like little porcupines. Yeah. They also sting like little porcupines. All right, so what I need is a lid just slightly smaller than this pan. That'll do. And what we're going to do is go ahead and drain all the grease off of these. There is a pan in the sink. I am not pouring this down my drain. If anybody was curious. There we go. Now, what we're going to do from here is add the remainder of these onions, and then we're going to put mushrooms in. Also, a little bit of butter won't go amiss. And then we can start building our sauce in here. So let's start with our butter. And we're going to let that melt down. And while we do, I'll be right back. Noisy! Hey man, how's it going? It's good to see you. Thanks for coming by. I'm making porcupine meatballs. I need to go check because I heard a notification go off. But it's good to have you on the stream, man. How you doing? I'll be right back. We're making meatballs. There we go. So what you up to today, man? Anything good?
need to get a little bit of moisture in there. There we go. All right. Because those mushrooms will absorb a lot of moisture. And that onion's also not going to be enough to flavor all that like onion. So, we grab some onion powder. Now, we're going to want to richen this up and kind of make a sauce at the same time. So, we're going to get a little beef base and a little Marmite, both of which in an oven by themselves richen things up nicely. And if you put a little bit of one into the other, it makes for a good combination. Now, if I'm doing vegetarian dishes, I will use Marmite in place of beef bouillon, but meatballs obviously are not a vegetarian dish, so I'm not going to worry about it tonight. Here's what we're going to do. A little bit of beef bouillon, not much, just enough to season things up. A little water in that. Come on down here and take a look, guys. And get your Marmite with a knife, because I tell you guys, this stuff sticks to everything. See, it's not going to come off of there. And the reason I'm trying to drop it in the water here instead of scraping it into the pan is because that pan has one of those nice non-stick finishes, and I don't want to be scraping knives all over my pan and ruining the finish. Okay, that's good right there. We will take this over and we will stick it in there to start building our sauce. And of course the Marmite is stuck to the glass. Why wouldn't it be? Alright, give me our knife. There we go. Now if we put it in the middle and it gets hot, it will melt. But once it starts doing that, we'll swizzle it around a bit to kind of keep that going on. Nope, sorry. Didn't mean to point you guys at my... Anyway, over here we're going to... Oh, let me see what Noisy's saying. Fine guy. You got out of work and are just relaxing. That sounds awesome, man. I'm happy for you. I just got off work a little while ago, too, and I'm making myself some dinner over here. It's going to be great. I wish you guys could come over and eat some with me. I wish all y'all could come over and eat some with me. Okay. So what we're basically going to do is cover that and let it cook down into a bit of a mushroom sauce. And that's pretty much going to be it. So while we wait, I am going to, well, we probably better turn it down a little bit so it simmers. We need a little starch of some sort to make the sauce thicken up. And I'm going to see what I've got real quick. Baking soda, baking powder, Crisco. I could have sworn I had cornstarch someplace, but I don't. So what we're going to use is a little bit of flour, just a pinch. That'll thicken your sauce up. We just let it sit. And while we wait on it, and you need to keep an eye on it so that it doesn't dry out, but while we wait on it, I guess I'm going to clean up this kitchen a little bit. Yeah. Oop, let's see what you guys are doing. You would devour that. Yeah, it's smelling real good, man. I wish you guys were here to help me eat it. Let me show you guys a neat little trick here.
with onions, if you stick your onion in a bowl face down, and we've got 2 onions today, so they're not both going to be face down, although this one I'm going to kind of face toward the edge of the bowl, and you wrap them up, they will stay fresh in your fridge for a lot longer than they would. And that's good for, you know, if you have a big onion and not a dish that requires all of it. Of course, I hear stories that my grandfather on my mom's side used to eat an onion like an apple. I have no such proclivities, so we're going to stick it in the fridge and let it chill for a while. Oh yeah, look, that sauce is thickening right up, and in fact, we do need a little more water in it, so let's just add that, and I'll probably keep that out because we'll want it again. So in the meantime, let's load up our dishwasher with all this schmutz that's in my sink. If you guys don't mind me cleaning my kitchen while I talk to you, because it will save me a lot of time later. Here we go. Beef bouillon away. Gonna take our knife and our cutting board, our other cutting board. Rice pan. Yes, a badass granddad. I have an interesting story about him being kind of a badass. He used to have heart trouble, and at one point or another they did open heart surgery on him. He was probably in his 70s at the time. Maybe in his 60s or something, I'm not sure, but as I understand it, they sent him home, and they told him not to do anything for a little bit, and he said, well, you know, how long until I can resume normal activity? And they said, oh, I don't know, you know, how old are you? And he told them, and they said, oh, a day or two. So he took them at their word, and after a day or two, he went outside and picked up his axe and started chopping wood with it and busted the wires in his chest and had to go back to the hospital to get him put in again. I didn't figure this old man was going to go home and chop him any wood or anything like that, so the surprise was on them. But I bet you after that, whenever someone said, how soon can I resume normal activity, the doctor probably asked, well, sir or ma'am, what do you consider to be normal activity? Let me go deal with this grease ball and I'll be right back. There we go. All right. So anyone got any big plans? Oh, you guys are over here for me. So anyone got any big plans for the evening? Anyone going to do anything really cool? Anyone just, you know, kind of getting into their week? Anything good going on at work? What are you guys up to? I am enjoying the prospect of these meatballs because they are going to be good. Let's see if I can turn them over to keep them from burning on one side. Or if I need to. Oh yeah, these are gonna be great. They're a little bit more delicate than I'd like them to be, just because, again, I don't have any egg in them. So if you guys make, yeah, see, that one's gonna fall apart on me. But if you guys make these, put some egg in them. I didn't have any egg tonight, so I may do without. But, you know, you can always kind of improvise, adapt, overcome all of that, but when all is said and done, making them right tends to make life easier. Little more water, and they're almost done. I'm just kind of waiting for those mushrooms to gel. There we go. Let's see. You have to sleep and that's about it. Well, I tell you what, I'm a little bit jealous because sleep is good. I got plenty of sleep last night, but the night before I got to reading, and anymore there's no clock in the bedroom. I haven't put one in there since after Dee left for Tennessee, and I probably should, but I was reading my book and it felt late, but I couldn't sleep and I was reading and got up to get a little water and a little midnight snack. And I glanced at the clock and I was not getting a midnight snack, I was getting a 4 in the morning snack. So yesterday I was a little tired, but today I'm fine. Oh, those mushrooms smell heavenly. You could throw these on a hoagie with some marinara sauce and some cheese, and that would be real good. But that mushroom sauce is really coming together. You could also add some sour cream to the sauce and kind of make it a stroganoff style sauce for these meatballs, and that would be really good. And come to think of it, I don't know why I'm not doing that right now, because it would be really, really good, although I think I'm going to stick true to the recipe that I started with this evening. So we'll get adventurous later when I'm not trying to entertain you guys. So, because if it comes out badly, you know, then it's stream over, man. Stream over, man! Stream over! Sorry. So we'll clean off this countertop while we wait and see what you found out. Your credit may be good enough to get a loan on a house. Nice! Oh, I am so glad to hear that for you. That is great. That is absolutely wonderful. And I hope that it is. And for anyone else who might need to know this, if you are looking to build your credit, and I know this because it's how I did it over the past several years, is get yourself a credit card. And you have to be disciplined to do this. But get yourself a credit card, and one where you can pay your bill online, okay? And everything you buy with your credit card, you pretend that you're purchasing it out of your checking account. And then at the end of the week, every single week, you know, and don't skip this, at the end of every week, you put your purchases on your credit card, and then you immediately pay it from the checking account that you normally spend your money with. Because, I mean, it's money you'd spend with your checking account anyway, except now you're putting it on your credit card, and you're building up a credit history. And here's the best part. Get yourself a credit card that does cash back. Not frequent flyer miles and not like Starbucks rewards or things like that, but real cash back. And most of the time you save 1 to 3% on things, so not only are you building a good credit history, but you get money back on what you're purchasing. So you save 1 to 3% on everything you buy, and that it's not a bunch, but it adds up over time. And so you're getting money back, you're building a credit history, and it's stuff that you would buy anyway. Let me get this onion off the floor here. So yeah, I found that worked real well for me. You can finally make a stream studio. That is going to be so awesome, man. If you need any help with like computers or microphones or interfaces or anything like that, don't hesitate to let me know. I'm going to go throw this onion away. Don't hesitate to let me know, because that is going to be awesome. I am so happy for you. You know, for Noisy Girl, what you ought to do is do this great, big, transparent, clear guinea pig run and just let them move through it in the background while you're streaming. Of course, you might not want them in the studio, but I think they're a nice touch. Well, this is looking real, real good. And I think we're about ready to eat this. So let's do this. That's real good, but I tell you what it needs is salt.
There we go. Now let's get a nice plate to present this on. And I will turn you guys around here. But Noisy, I am so happy for you. That is just great. I know you guys are excited. And I don't blame you, because I just went through the exact same thing myself, getting approved for my house loan and getting it taken care of. In fact, I just closed on it last week, you know. No, they're not going to be in the studio. Still, the guinea pigs are cool. You'll have to have them during Saturday shenanigans or something. Alright, let's see if I can dump these out on this plate without ruining them. You know what? We might do a spatula here, because that'll be a better idea. There we go. Meatballs, meatballs everywhere. And they've got little spinies coming up off of them because they're porcupine meatballs. And again, normally you kind of pick these out of a crock pot with a toothpick. And you enjoy them as an hors d'oeuvre or something. But we did them a little differently tonight. And there's one. Running out of room for meatballs. So we'll just pile some of them on top of each other. Right over here, I think, where that one fell apart, and they won't look as ugly. All right. Well, that's not the prettiest presentation I've ever done, but I tell you, that ain't half bad looking food right there, and I'm going to enjoy eating it. So, let's set that there, and check on you guys. They're way too messy. Yeah, you know, guinea pigs are cool, but anything like that, especially a rodent pet, is a bit messy, although rats actually keep themselves pretty clean most of the time. That said, I am so happy for you, man, and thank you, by the way. I appreciate the good wishes from you to me on my house as well that I see. And congrats again. I wish you were streaming right now, because I'd throw the stream over to you. But that being said, it looks like Bacon might be streaming right now. So what I think I'm going to do is throw the stream over to him. But first, let's see if I can try one of these meatballs for you guys without scalding my tongue. Looky there, isn't that pretty? And see its little spines? Well, there's an onion sticking off of it. But see its little spines sticking up off of it? That's why you call it a porcupine meatball. Let's see here. Might do something like that, though. The one thing you want to do is be able to stream from a couch all the time. That would be nice. You know, it'd be comfy. Most of the time when I'm streaming, I'm either standing up, as you see here, or if I'm back in the back room, I'm sitting on a chair and looking at my desk. But that said, thanks, man. It's awesome having you here. Also, my mom is in the stream somewhere this evening, as well as several other people, and thank you all for coming so much. I am going to eat my meatballs and throw you guys over to the Bacon Maker, who is playing some Dark Souls. So I'll throw you over to him, where you can probably hear some delightful profanity if he's playing Dark Souls. And I will see you guys next time. Bon appetit. Oh man, that's good. Hot, but good. Bye, y'all.